Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inside Sports Recruiting. My name is Jesse Marsh, and I aim to give insights on the college sports recruiting process. I believe that everyone has a unique recruiting story, and I want to share it so that other young athletes entering the college recruiting game can be as best prepared for the process. My guest today is a gifted forward on the Villanova men's soccer team. Hailing from Bolgatanga, Ghana, Seidu showed promise from a young age at his days with the Right to Dream Academy. That opportunity brought him to the USA as a young teenager, where he played at the Canterbury School in Connecticut. He'd go on to make a name for himself there, recording 67 goals and 32 assists in just 3 seasons. With his contributions to the team, he was named to the 2017 High School All-American game and earned the Connecticut C.T. Fisher Soccer Award, presented to the soccer player who has made the greatest contribution to the Canterbury program. After committing to Villanova, he had a rough start, suffering a season-ending knee injury in freshman preseason. But he truly bounced back the next year, though, scoring 2 game-winning goals against Philadelphia rivals Temple and LaSalle. With his performances, he was selected to the Philly Soccer Six All-Rookie team. After injuries and COVID-19 hampered his junior season, he's aiming to regain and build upon his form the 2 years ago, making him an enticing prospect for pro teams looking to pick up a rising star in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Seidu Shamsudeen. How's it going, Seidu?
Good. That's quite an intro.
How's summer been for you?
It's been good. I'm currently on campus, Villanova, taking a couple of classes. Then I'm in rehab right now because I got hurt in the spring. So I'm working towards getting back on the field, and I'm just working a couple of jobs on campus as well. So not bad. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So how's the rehab going? How's that preparation looking like heading into next season?
Um, Rehab is going great. I am 13 weeks post surgery right now. And I think I should be good to go during preseason. So as of right now, I'm just getting my fitness back and trying to like feel comfortable, like moving around again, game situated movements and stuff. So far so good, making some quality progress. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And when does preseason start for you?
Preseason starts August 8th. Um, that's when everyone is back. Yeah, looking forward to that, definitely.
Nice. Nice. All right. So let's just kick things off. You'll take us through your soccer career so far, from the first time you kicked a soccer ball to becoming a Division I player at Villanova. So yeah. So how'd you get into soccer?
So, my dad used to be a referee, like a soccer referee. So, he used to come home all the time, like with a soccer ball and stuff. I think I was about 4 when I started like kicking the ball around, and yeah, that's from there my passion grew. I watched my two brothers, I have two older brothers play soccer as well, and then as time went on, I just grew the love for the sports. And then I started playing like Premier, like what you guys would call Premier Soccer. It's called Combs, like Cole Soccer in Ghana, and that's how I started playing. And at the age of I think about 9 or 10, I got picked up by one of the most prestigious like soccer schools or soccer academies in Africa. Um, so I got like recruited from like my town, like in Bolgatanga, to like um to the capital town of Ghana, like the capital city of Ghana. And so I was there for 4 years. And then this program, by the way, is called Right to Dream Academy. And then I was in the organization for 4 years. So they nurtured me in like my soccer skills, and I was able to get a good quality education. And from there, they were able to get me a scholarship to a school in Connecticut called Canterbury School. And then from Canterbury School, so I played at Canterbury for like 3.5 years. On top of that, I played like academy and Premier Soccer with like travel teams around here, and that's how I got a lot of interest from like college soccer programs, um, and that's how I got recruited into Villanova. And we can get into that more, but
Nice.
that's sort of the journey.
Yeah. So talk to me about Right to Dream. Like, how did that all come about? How did you end up getting like that opportunity to like trial there? and how did that process go about?
Yeah. So I'm from northern Ghana. So it's like 18 hours from like the capital city, like Accra. So like usually like there's barely opportunities like this that come along in northern Ghana. So like Right to Dream like comes around like once every year or like once every 2 years. So like every kid like where I'm from like is looking for that opportunity to like to get out. Like any kid that is passionate about soccer, like because it's not a lot of opportunities. You can be very good, but if like organizations like Retro Gym don't come around, you don't get, to nurture your talent, you don't. So, um, so I think I was 11, 10. Retro Gym came by and like my club coach was like, hey, there's a trial, there's a justification coming around. You should probably go try out and stuff like that. And they were like, probably like 400 kids to start with in my little town. And I was part of like the 10, but I think 10, 15 kids that made the cut. And then we went to like the regional tryout and they're like 400 kids. And then I was part of a few people that made the cut again. And then we went to like a more like a national tryout where there are like thousands of kids. So it's quite a journey because like the best of the best kind of like makes it to the academy. And it's not even just Ghana. It's like we had kids all over Africa, like Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, um, like Benin, South Africa. So so you so at the end I'm like I made a cut out of like what 10 guys like from like in Ghana, like in my grade at that time. I think that was 2014. And that's how I ended up in the academy. So it's a whole process where it's like you trying out, you proving yourself like day in, day out throughout the process. And there's like a 2 month wait between every trial. So like after my first trial, I had to wait 2 months to see whether I made the cut, and you're just like wondering if you're good enough, if they notice you and stuff like that. So it definitely at 9 or 11, like it's like you trying to make an impact, and like you just thinking if you're good enough to make it out like that early already. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So how were you able to deal with that pressure at such a young age? And then just building upon that, how was, since like you had to deal with that pressure and you successfully did it because you got the scholarship and got the try and got to all these trials. How do you think that helped you like through going to boarding school and also like suffer like with your injuries at Villanova and how you've had to come back from multiple injuries and surgeries? How do you think that whole process helped your mental game?
Um, Leaving home at like 10 or 11 like was tough, and I called my mom all the time. I remember like the last tryout, like I called my mom. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make the cut. Like crying and all this stuff. But I guess being away from home kind of taught me to do things on my own, to kind of like grow up early. So I don't think I had the ideal childhood that a lot of people like will deem, like. So like from like the get-go from my childhood, like at age 12, 13, I learned how to be independent. So I barely saw my family. I saw my family twice a year. And then when I moved to America, I saw them like once every 2 years. Um, as of
Uh,
right now, I haven't seen them in like 2 years and a half. So I guess just being away from home taught me how to like handle things on my own, how to just like, um, suck it up and, um, push it through. And I think what like the thing that has helped me, like especially all my injuries right now, it's looking back at the journey and how far I've come. So I just look back and I'm like, nah, I cannot give up. It's like I've come so far. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just can't look back and be like I'm just gonna give up to, yeah, keep fighting and stuff. And boarding school was quite a transition. Um, it was the first time I was away from Ghana, so that's like a different type because like you're away from like your whole country where you're comfortable with the food, the weather, all that stuff. Um, like the furthest I've ever been with my family. So that was quite a transition, getting used to the food, the weather, and all this stuff. And then as time went on, it just became normal. I went from not see my see my family two, 3 times a year to not even seeing them a year or two. So Yeah, so it's been quite a transition, and I'm loving every bit of the journey, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So just, I mean, I'm gonna come back to that boarding school thing. So at that Right to Dream Academy, so you were, where did you live for that when you got accepted to that academy? Where did you live in Ghana?
So the academy is like a boarding, it's like a boarding school. So like they bring kids all over Ghana and all over Africa. So you live in like a school setting where like you go to school, you practice soccer every day, like twice a day. You go to like study hall, like all this stuff. And then this like the academy called Right to Dream basically like recruits kids and help give them opportunity. So like we had two paths basically. So after like 4 or 5 years, they give you like two ways. It's either you to help you get a contract in Europe, so you go be a professional player in Europe, or you take this pathway where you try to you come here, get an education, and play at the same time. So based on how your 4 year goes, and like based on how much you adapt to the school work and how well you do in soccer, can determine what route you take. Usually, there's kids that aren't very gifted with school and stuff, so they usually end up taking the school route, and then there's guys like me and other people that like that fancy and enjoy education and playing at the same time that takes this route. So we basically just in the academy for 4 years, training, going to school, and then there's also the character development program that kind of teaches you the basics of like overcoming challenges, how to be passionate about what you do and all of that stuff. So the academy was basically focused on three things. It's like nurturing you as a soccer player, going to school, and then like developing your character and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do and learn when you're that young. You know, I went to boarding school when I was 15 and I thought that I was really young. But like seeing just listening to your experience, that's definitely very, very tough. So let's get into that the boarding school experience again. So how did that come about? How did you decide that you wanted to move on from this academy and then go into boarding school, or was that like a natural progression for was that the goal for every person who was a part of the academy to go away to boarding school after a few years in the academy?
Yeah, it's funny because like everyone that goes into the academy has like one mindset. I'm going into the academy and I'm going to become like a professional soccer player right away because that's like what's deemed in my society cool. No one really, no one really respects like a doctor or like a lawyer or whatever in my society because not a lot of people become that. But like because soccer is like the national sports in Ghana, it's like if you become a professional soccer, that's like the cool thing, like you're more respected and whatever. So at that age, like everyone coming to the academy is thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be a soccer player. Like I'm trying to go pro right away, go find go get a professional contract in Europe somewhere. But when I got to the academy, like my mom, like, was always pressuring me, take school seriously, like because she wasn't even gonna let me leave the house if the academy didn't promise her that they'll take care of my schooling and stuff. So like so as time went on in my time in the academy, like I finished school, I did okay in school and stuff like that. So when the time came to decide what I wanted to do, like it took me a while because like you have your friend that are gonna go on. So I have a lot of friends that are professional players right now, and I'm still in school and I eventually have dreams of becoming one someday. So there's that in your mind that like you're gonna take the longer route, and it's not gonna be easy. You're gonna have school and on top of that stress and all of that. Um, but they let you decide what you truly want to do. So I guess um, one time I was just sleeping in my bed, honestly, and then I got a call from like the owner, like the owner of the academy, and called me into the office, and he was like, "Yeah, I think this is what we think will be the best thing for you, and we think you'll find success if you take this route and stuff like that." So they don't really tell you what to do. Some situations, like some people, like there's only one thing they have, like there's nothing else. But I think I was blessed enough to have that, could have gone either way. and I thought this would be like with my mom giving me that pressure and stuff like that, and I kind of find the value of education as well myself. So I thought it'd be the best thing for me to come here, get a good education, and then play at the same time. So when he gave me that option, I decided, yeah. And then there were a bunch of schools. Usually with the schools, you don't really get to say where you go because sometimes you have to like sacrifice to go somewhere new that nobody has been. So I was the first person to go to Canterbury from my program, but other people usually go to places where they've already been a registered kid. So like they usually like on new schools that there's nobody. Sometimes you just have to. That was me, I guess. You just have to sacrifice and be the first person that's gonna go make an impact. So like the prep school, Canterbury, like we need another person from the academy. So you're like opening doors for other kids behind you. And when they told me, yeah, like this is gonna be you, this is what we're expecting. We want you to go and do well and then open up other doors for like other kids. So that's how you don't really get a say on the school, but you get a say on what you truly want to do, but not the school specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the weight on the like the thing opening the doors is definitely a big thing. I think especially as international students, we always are aiming to when we come to the states, we're always aiming to open doors for different people. So yeah, just going on off of that topic, did you feel as if since you were the first person from that academy that went to Canterbury, did you feel like a weight on your shoulders that you had to live up to certain reputation that you had to do well, like you had to keep playing soccer, you had to do well in school and everything, and you had to keep up this reputation in order to was that a pressure on you going in there?
Yes, I think yeah, definitely. It was definitely a pressure. It's like at like 14, 15, like you can screw up. Like, you have to do everything almost perfectly, you know. Um, so like there's like I'm stuck like doing homework all weekend just trying to keep up my grades, and I don't slip up, like I don't try to put myself in situations that could get me in trouble and stuff like that. So I feel like because that's when determines whether like the school wants another kid from my program and stuff like that. So after like my first 2 years, like there was a kid, Zaki, that came over from my program. So that kind of took off like, the pressure a little bit, but we both had to like, behave still to keep that window open. And then we both like ended up doing okay in the school after 4 years. I went to Villanova. He ended up at Michigan playing soccer. And then now there's a girl who's there as well, Joy. She's doing very well as well.
Nice.
So there's definitely, I think, with the academy and how much is done for us, like I don't think it matters where you go. Like all the regime guys usually have that pressure. You can be the first person or the second person, third or fourth person. You can always be that one person that could screw it up for everyone else, like, behind you. So we all always have that in mind that like we have to always do almost everything perfectly just to keep like opening doors because there's other people that have come before us that have done the same thing, and even that transforms to college as well. Like when we get to college, the same thing. It's like that's an expectation because there's always that Red to Dream label attached to every kid that went through the program. It's like everything you do, like Red to Dream even comes before your surname sometimes. Like, yeah, Red to Dream guy. And there's a lot of Red to Dream kids all over, like, colleges and stuff. So it's a very well known program, and we always got to keep that in mind, like whatever we do, I guess. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So looking back at the boarding school experience, would you recommend that for other international soccer players that want to have dreams of playing college soccer?
Yes, absolutely. The New England area, especially, it's a good like soccer, like environment area. Um, and I think it depends on there's other schools that are like very like soccer, like oriented where like the kids, like this kid they recruit like the what 25 people in their squad are all recruited and stuff. I didn't have that at my school, but my school was pretty decent after my second after my first year because we struggled a little bit because I was like the first ever recruit for like Canterbury, and then it started, like getting bigger. Zaki came in and we became really good. Um, but I think I recommend it for even for sports in general, not just even like soccer. I think prep school really prepares you well, and it's in a good area. And like as long as you do well, you come in, you do well. Like there's a lot of opportunities. Um, and it's like you come out of a prep school with a good GPA. It's like and an athlete as well. It helps you. It propels you for like better colleges and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So for soccer, I know like in terms of me with swimming, I've had like we did club swimming with our school and we did school swim and then school swimming there. But I know you talked about you played like with travel teams. Did you think that that was really the big part in your recruiting process more so than what you did at Canterbury?
I think a little bit of both. Um, I think Canterbury adds credibility. Like like you go to like a well-known school, and I think a lot of colleges usually when we play in the fall, like they have seasons and stuff, so they usually don't come out to like our fall games in high school because they have seasons and stuff. But usually like travel sports is usually where like colleges usually like see you, they email you through those tournaments. But Canterbury, so like through high school, you can also make a highlight video, and you can like send out to colleges. That helps too as well. But I think definitely like travel teams and academy premier team definitely helped with my college process just because like soccer is being played in the fall and then usually colleges have their fall season to focus on as well, so they don't come out to see as much compared to where when we travel in the winter or the spring they are off season, so they do more of their recruiting like during their off season.
Now, so let's get into this college recruiting process. So, when did this whole process start for you?
It started my sophomore year. That's when I was like, okay, um, where do I want to go to college? And as an international, you don't really know what that means. Like, you don't know what like which college is good, like which college, like you don't know what to look for in a college, So like I started talking to some people. I started talking to my host family, like my high school coach, and they're like, okay, there's like D1 programs and there's like D3, there's D2, there's some like really good like D3 schools, but like they're not really good at soccer. Like if you're looking to go pro, D1 is what you want to look at. So like it's like finding a balance of a good school and a decent soccer program. So I started my sophomore year. I couldn't really talk to coaches, so I just started sending out like emails and attachment with my videos and stuff. And then I went out to a couple of college camps because it's the summer. I didn't have much to do, so I just went out to a couple of college camps. That's one way you can do it as well. Just put yourself out in front of the coaches. They see you right away. So that's one way I did it. Send out emails and my highlight video, and I went to a couple of college camps, and then like and tournaments that I went to and the colleges that I wanted to go to. I just told them, hey, I'm gonna be at this tournament in Virginia. This is my like team schedule. I'm playing at this time on this field. So they'll come watch. And then junior year was when I could start talking to college, so they could start calling me. I could call them. So that's when it all started. Where I started getting emails. Like I think August of my junior year, so I started getting like a lot of interest and stuff. So I spoke to a lot of colleges, and the process um, got a little bit overwhelming. So I had to pin it down to like my top 5 schools, and I just wanted to focus on those 5 schools and visit those schools, and then I'll be able to decide, like after that based on like who's really interested and stuff like that. So I committed very early in my junior year. I think I broke it down to like Villanova and Virginia, and then Virginia was super nice. I equally liked both of them. And you're an international student, you get how much support means to us. So I thought Villanova had that support system that I really needed. as a student athlete, and that's how you know I ended up at Villanova, and the whole college process. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So, can you remember your first letter or email or phone call you received from a coach, and like what school that was, and like how did you feel when you got that first email, and like and you were like, "Oh, I actually have schools interested in me, and I actually could be a college soccer player."
The first phone call, I think was Northeastern. Um, was Northeastern because they were the first like ever college that showed a lot of interest. They even came to my game in the fall. Usually like a lot of this doesn't happen because they have their season as well. So they came to one of my games in the fall, like with like the three coaches showed up. So I think that was quite like, oh wow, like it's really started, like it's really serious. Like that's when you're like, um like colleges have like interested. There's like a D1 program that sort of spoke to you like a week ago and then drafts you again like the following week from Boston. That's like 4 hours away. So it's like overwhelming, but it's like exciting, So I'd probably say like if I can remember, Northeastern was probably like my first serious phone call. Yeah.
Nice. And so I know at the division at D1, you're only allowed 5 official visits to colleges. So I know you were talking earlier about how you had to narrow down your schools to about 5. So how did you what are the factors in terms of what how did you pick like these are the 5 that like what did you use to say like whether it was the pro like the demographics of the students, whether it was like the population of the school, like the size of the school.
Yeah. So I looked at like college size because originally like when I got to America, like I think I might have my high school coach is from Penn State. So he took me to a Penn State game and right away I'm like, you know what, this is where I want to go. But then when I got a little bit older, I was like, you know what, I don't really want like a big school. Like I want like a medium sized school. And so I looked at like the size of the school and I looked at and I also looked at wherever there was going to be like a right to dream guy, comfortability a little bit. And I also looked at where um that I could come in right away and be part of the few people that could change like a program, be part of people that could make history or whatever. So I was looking into that as well. Like come in, make an impact, like do something that like create something that hasn't been done in a certain settings. I looked at that as well, and I looked at support system. That was very huge for me. Like I wanted somewhere I could call home. Like I wanted somewhere that would look at me more than a soccer player. So when I visited, these are the like things that I paid attention to, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I basically looked at in my process. Yeah.
So you're right to dream person at Villanova Steel, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
With Steel, yeah.
Once you went on the official visits, what were you looking for on like while you were on that visit?
uh it's like vibe, like you're looking for vibe where you can like picture yourself. So it's like a gut feeling almost, like you're talking to people, um you're checking out facilities, like we all like nice things, so like we all look at so pretty much when I was on campus, all the campus I was at, I was just looking at the vibes. If I could really see myself at this campus walking in and out of class, if I could really see myself interacting with people. So I was just pretty much looking at my gut feeling if I could truly, truly see myself like at a certain campus. And I was also looking at facilities as well. Yeah.
And what did Villanova have that set it apart from all the other schools that you visited?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, so I pretty much broke it down. Like at some point it was just Villanova or like Virginia, because that's how overwhelming it got. So I just pretty much, without telling like every coach, like this is what I was thinking, I just pretty much like, okay, you know what? Like at the end of the day, it's just gonna come down to UVA or Villanova. So like UVA, great facilities, same thing as Villanova, in some certain areas, I guess. Um, but it just came down to like the support system, like the people I spoke to at Villanova. I don't know if I guess I wasn't exposed to much at Virginia. I might just been the way the whole visit went or whatever. But I loved Virginia, equally loved both when I visited. Um, but it all came down to like support system for me. And Theo also played a big factor. But then also there was also another right gym guy at UVA at that time, as well. And it came down to also like playing time, like looking at the roster. Um, like UVA, I wasn't sure if I was going to be playing like every game right away. I mean, maybe come off the bench as a freshman and stuff like that. So I wanted to be like, somewhere I could actually get some playing time like right away. I don't want to like, wait, like be coming off the bench as a freshman. I just wanted to play as a freshman as well. So that's one thing I also considered. Um, and then it's just from like familiarity, I guess, with Theo, just like, I was comfortable, like, to have someone that I knew, like as well. So the thing that pretty much set Villanova apart from everything else was having Theo here, having that support system, like they literally right away will get your back as an international student. Um, and then just see myself here pretty much. I could just picture myself walking in a class with my backpack, pretty much could picture myself like with the life I'm living right now on campus. I could see myself from the very first day that I visited. So yeah, I think sometimes it just comes down like your gut feeling when it gets overwhelming and it gets confusing, like you don't know what to do. Because some colleges might have like much nicer things than others. And I guess sometimes like facilities, sometimes it's not all of that, or like notoriety. That's what it's not like everything. Sometimes it's where you can feel comfortable, where you can actually see yourself like strive. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, last question. What advice would you give to younger athletes about to enter the process? What are some of the things you wish someone told you as you were starting to look at playing at the college level?
Um, like in terms of the process, like yeah, I would say you should like people will tell you oh like you have time like as a freshman. I think like start as early as you can. Like think about what you want, like what you want out of your whole college experience. Um, think about what you're gonna study. Think about like location. Um, think about conference. And then like look up the roster. Like if you're a basketball player, whatever, look how many seniors they're graduating. Like, are you willing to like wait to like play in like your sophomore year or junior year, or you want to like play right away? So these are all things you can write down and then see what you really want. So when your process comes, like you know what schools to cancel, like and which one you don't really want to look at because they don't really offer that for you. I think sometimes you caught up and then you forget to look at like the things that really matter. And then sometimes that's when like confusion can come in. Like the whole college process, like in my opinion, I think it's stressful in general on where to pick for the next 4 years because that's pretty much going to be your home for the next 4 years. So you don't really want to make a mistake. But I think to make the process easier, you have to start writing down things that you want out of your college experience. Because I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be your decision. You're the one that's gonna sign the NLI, and then you're stuck for that for a while, unless like you're unhappy and you want to transfer. That's also a whole nother process as well. But I say start early, jot down location, school size, conference, look at like roster, how many seniors I graduated. I'm coming in as a freshman, like all that stuff. And then based on what you value, like you can pick those schools or at least jot it down to like two or three, and then it becomes easier, like going forward. Yeah.
Thank you for the great advice. And Seidu, thank you so much for joining me today on Inside Sports Recruiting. I look forward to seeing big things from you on the soccer field next season. All the best with preseason and enjoy your summer.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
No
Yeah.
problem. Well, that's all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inside Sports Recruiting. Keep following us on our Instagram at Inside Sports Pod for everything college sports recruiting.